fishing news is sponsored by these fine partners.
I'm Jim Hutchinson with a New Jersey Delaware Bay edition of the Fisherman magazine. And the big news this week, the last week of March 2021, the first full official week of spring, is this: that cows have come home. It's official from where I'm sitting at the desk again on Tuesday. Dave Norman let me know that he caught and released this 41-inch striped bass along the Delaware River, and he was using a blood bag. Now, we talked about the blood bag a couple of times over the last couple of months. Load some bloodworms into a little piece of that thin material they call tulle, tie it up, tie it to your hook, douse it, a little bit of finessence. This stuff is great in a bouillabaisse too. I'm kidding, don't do that. But the blood bag is great, and the Delaware River Sharpies have been using this for years because they've had the circle hook regulation for years, for the month of April and May. So that tulle, that little thin fabric, they stuff the bloodworms in there. It also keeps the perch at bay as well. Now you can tell by looking at Dave's fish, this photo he posted to the Delaware River Striped Bass Fishing Facebook page. But look at that big sagging belly. A big fat female fecund fish, a boff, a true boff. No doubt heading upriver to spawn. Dave said he's going to continue to share a couple of reports and photos with us along the way for the next couple of weeks. I appreciate that, Dave. Thank you very much. Where's he fishing? Oh, no, that's not going to happen. Try Google Earth. The best thing about using Google Earth is you can kind of zoom in, look for street ends that lead to a beach or a sod bank so you can find some area of parking. I also highly recommend the Navionics phone app. One thing that I do when surf fishing or fishing along the shore as well is that you can give you some water depths, especially if they've got the community edits and folks have shared some inshore, close to shore updates to the Navionics app, and you can use Google Earth to find yourself a location and then grab your phone, go to that Navionics app and kind of zoom around and take a look to see if you can find some good drop-offs and pieces of structure. But I'm not going to tell you. These favorite locations, especially this time of year, are highly guarded locations. In Dave's report, I'm not at liberty to disclose his exact location. Besides, he didn't tell me. If those big fish have turned up the Delaware, though, as I mentioned last week, it's only a matter of time before they start turning into the Raritan as well. That Raritan bonanza should begin soon enough and should begin earlier than most people think that it should. In the last couple of years, it's been early mid-April. So you can expect that. I know the charter fleet is looking to get out there on the grounds as of April 1st, and that's next week. So we're just about in that time. Now, Phil at the tackle box, he told me this week, and when I talked to him on Monday, he said water temperatures in the particular area of the Raritan Bay shore where he checked was 46 degrees. And it resulted in a few bigger fish in the reports through this weekend and into this week as well. Now, Phil also said, quote, this week the water temps should get up there to 50 and stay there, which of course should really kick things off along that Raritan Bay shore. Think spots like Cliffwood Beach and Keyport all along the Raritan Bay shore. But I also think it's going to drive some of those pluggers out to the water when the lights go out. They'll be creeping along while the rest of us are sleeping, and they're usually the ones that find the cows first. But prying any information out of them, it's usually once they find the bite, it's a good week or 2 weeks before that information finally gets out. Again, I'm not going to tell you spots, but if you go down to the Raritan at night on the right tide and look out on the water, look for some of those flashing headlights sometimes. It's a ticket to spot burning right there. But the bait is here. It's all over the place, from the Raritan to the Delaware. Dennis McNamara let me know this week he was practicing his cast netting in the lagoon at his house in Mystic Island. And he also had small bits of bloodworm out on a sabiki rig just to see what would happen. And lo and behold, he snagged a bunker. An adult bunker. And again, you probably heard the reports, a lot of adult bunker in the Raritan, out front, off of the Manasquan Inlet, I've heard them, and of course in the back in Barnegat Bay, Little Lake Harbor as well. Now, I'm not sure if anyone at the State Division of Fish and Wildlife is watching this week's video forecast, but in addition to the presence of live bunker, we've also had a few bunker kills reported. I spoke to Pete at Charlie's Bait and Tackle this week, and he said there was a little pod of dead bunker in the Manasquan and also in spots along the Metedeconk as well. Earlier this year, at one of the New Jersey Marine Fisheries meetings, meetings, Jeff Brust with the New Jersey Division of Fish and Wildlife said they're looking into the issue of dead or dying bunker, erratic swimming behavior. Now, Brust said this earlier situation with the die-off was not related to the normal, the usual suspects, oxygen depreciation. But he said that the fish were showing a degeneration of multiple organs. He said there's indication it might be some type of microorganism. I don't know if it's widespread, and I don't know if the timing of the two incidents is related, but perhaps someone at the Division of Fish and Wildlife, if they're looking into this video, they can look into this situation with some of these bunker die-offs in the Manasquan and the Matitakunk as well. The winter flounder bite in that particular stretch of Barnegat Bay is also getting a little bit better. In fact, I spoke with Jason at Fisherman Supply in Point Pleasant. He had good reports of winter flounder catches through this weekend. Stock up on chum and bloodworms at a local shop. I'm sure Jason can key you in on where you might want to go. Same can be said up in Belmar along Shark River. Bobby Matthews at Fisherman's Den. He said it's been slow to materialize. But again, with some of these warmer days, hopefully we'll be talking winter flounder more in the next couple of weeks. I got to talking about that Toms River striper bite over the weekend. I went to Grumpy's spring sale and I hooked up, met with Johnny Scabelli. Got it right that time. Johnny and the boys at Grumpy's, a few guys were talking that in addition to those stiff offshore winds a couple of weeks ago, they thought the new moon in March was also a culprit for all of that water leaving the Toms River, and that was part of the reason why some of those striped bass have spread out throughout Barnegat Bay. But again, Toms River is still a good location for stripers. Like I said, they're spreading out. Dennis at Hook House Bait and Tackle also told me, he said the perch seem to be pushing to the west side. It looks like they're jumbo, they're loaded with eggs, and it's probably about time for them to move up into the freshwater portion of the Toms as well. Jose Lopez, he fished the Toms River over the weekend, said he saw guys catching huge perch to 15 inches on bloodworms, and it sounded like he was at the west end of the Toms River as well. He reported lots of striped bass too, mostly schoolies to 26 inches. He said they're killing the bloodworms. But when he ran out of bloodworms, he threw on an SP minnow, and he was just finding equal success with those short stripers as well. He fished from 6 a.m. till 9 a.m. Most of the better reports I'm getting late afternoon into the dusk. That's when some of the action is best. Folks who like working the dock lights, the bulkheads, the piers, and the like, definitely it's that time to enjoy some of these warmer nights ahead, to get out there looking for striped bass. Fingers crossed for warmer nights. Warmer by day, but still a little chilly at night. Dave from Absecon Sportsman Center this week found the official answer to the ongoing circle hook crisis. He said gulp and Kalen's jig heads. He was out earlier this week, beautiful day. He and his buddy Len, they jigged the sod banks for 23 mid-sized stripers on gulp paddle tails, including 2 30-inch keepers. He also had another 4 on bloodworms for 27 total on the day. So those artificials are starting to work. And things are starting to pop too, more into Atlantic and Cape May County as well in terms of the striper bite in the back, even along that border of Atlantic and Cape May County. Bob Stavola said he splashed the boat for the 2021 season, said he and his crew had a good time with stripers along the sedges, working that trolling motor to get up and sneak in on some of those stripers. I also saw my first osprey just the other day, Northern Ocean County. Also a good sign that that bait is here. Not just the bunker, but also the herring. Those beautiful Seahawks usually arrive naturally farther south, into Cape May and Atlantic County as well, because they're on their northern migration. But again, expect more of those migratory stripers as well when we start to see the migrating ospreys show up for the season. You can expect more of the stripers as well. Down into Cape May County, in Cape May, I talked to Nick at Hands 2 Bait and Tackle in Cape May. He said they had a couple of reports of smallish stripers on the front side beaches as well. Some guys out bucktailing on those front beaches, so that's a good sign. Could be time to get down there in Cape May with small gliders, SP minnows, swim shads as well. I hear the Joe Baggs Swarters are doing a number on some striped bass in some of the river conditions throughout the Garden State as well. A little farther west of Cape May, get into Cumberland County. Dom from YouTube channel Abita Mash Fishing said they doubled up at Fortescue Beach using bloodworms over the weekend. High-low rig, I guess. On the incoming tide, they said a 9-inch perch and a 17-inch striped bass, both released. Good news there. And again, We spoke at the beginning that Delaware River bite is intensifying. Looks like one of the first reported spawners of the year, a 41-incher for Dave, like I said. But I also heard from Tom Ashinsky and crew. They hit their first striper of the year on Sunday in the Rancocas Creek. Said they had 50-degree water temperatures. Again, that's a good sign for the movement of some of these bigger striped bass into our estuaries. Now, don't forget, you still have that spawning area closure along the Delaware River starting next week. That's in April. Starts April 1st. It runs all the way through the month of May. All stripers caught in that stretch from the Salem River up to the Calhoun Street Bridge. Striped bass have to be caught and released. And again, those guys along that stretch of the Delaware have been using circle hooks with bloodworms for years. The good news for April 1st, New Jersey gets the Tautog fishery back again. And the charter skippers, not just in the mix for striped bass, especially in the northern part, but throughout New Jersey, the charter boats, the head boats, they'll be back in the mix for that 4 fish at 15-inch size limit, the 4-fish bag, starting April 1st. Folks have been curious. I did talk about it last week about the carrying capacity of their favorite head boat. Best thing that I could advise, call, ask the captains that you plan to fish with what their recommendations are, what you need to bring, but also you're going to need reservations because they still are on a more reduced capacity due to the pandemic. So call ahead right now, secure that spot, get in on the April blackfish. Right now, the best action on the party boats that I know of is I know the Jamaica 2 still going out a couple of days a week, going to some of those wrecks, and they're producing a few cod along with ling as well. If you're out fishing some of the structure, Seagirt, Manasquan, or Little Leg Reef, throughout this spring, you might notice a high flyer or two. They're not commercial pots, so don't get all upset, but it's an artificial reef ventless trap survey that the New Jersey Division of Fish and Wildlife is coordinating through the month of May. Just keep an eye out on those 3 particular reefs. Look for that high flyer, but again, not poachers. That's state research going on. We are expecting the Striped Bass Bonus Program application period to open any day now. At the last New Jersey Marine Fisheries fiasco, they said March 15th was going to be the application kickoff date. I checked on Wednesday afternoon. I still had not seen that website updated, so the applications are not going through. But any day now, that's what they say. Keep checking that website. But the bonus program will begin again mid-May. And again, at any point now, they're going to start accepting the applications. You're just going to have to visit that website again to catch up on that. Catch and release season on on trout. Catch and release trout will open on April 1st. The opening day for harvest comes on April 10th. Now, I would encourage you for those catch and release days in early April, go with the artificials. Save the bait. Save the bait for when you're gut hooking trout later on April 10th so you can take a couple home for the grill. Use those artificials when it comes to the catch and release season. Now, I know one guy who knows his way around a trout stream, Chris Lito. He's got a webinar coming up March 26th. That's at 7 p.m. He's doing this webinar on trout terrain tactics and techniques. He's going to discuss all aspects of local trout fishing with bait, lures, and flies, moving, still water, doesn't matter. Get details on this online seminar. It's available at njfishandwildlife.com/njoutdoors.htm. It's easy to remember. For more on the freshwater scene, including an update from the Delaware on shad, let's check in with my man George, the Pocono Outdoors guy.
Well, hey, thanks, Jim. You know, spring, it's finally here after such a rough winter, and it came in with some strength. Beautiful day here in the Poconos, 70 degrees, the water is warming up, and so is the fishing. We had guys checking in from all over, lots of guys catching, largemouth bass, crappie. Here's Rich Bates. He got some nice smallmouth up here in the northern tier of Pennsylvania, up in some of those smaller lakes, so the smallmouth bite's starting to kick off too. Lots of great things happening. Again, Jen Wong from Jersey checked in. He's still on that monster pickerel bite. I'll tell you, those things are as big as pike, and he says he's really getting the action on some plugs, so check them out. If you got some jerk baits or something, maybe get into those giant pickerel over there in Jersey. They're a lot of fun this time of year. Anything can happen. And don't forget, guys, we have April 3rd is the statewide opener for trout here in Pennsylvania. Fish Commission's been doing a great job. They're stocking all over, stocking extra heavy. So April 3rd, be sure you get out and enjoy some of that trout fishing. Now, I'll tell you what, the big thing again is the Delaware River. The shad are in the river, but the bite has been really slow. I've seen a couple of the guides on the river out making sure their gear set, they're actually testing the waters. No real fish to speak of yet. There's a few being picked up here and there, but I'll tell you what, I checked in with Tim Keebler of Finseeker Guide Service today, and he says, George, the water temperature's in the mid 40s going up, so it's only a couple degrees away, and we can get to that magic 50-degree mark, and hopefully that shad bite explodes, and we can get out on some great fishing. I know I got my trip booked. I hope you guys do too. I'll tell you what, get out and enjoy this weather. It's fantastic. From Pennsylvania, I'm George, your Pocono Outdoors guy.
Now, I know a lot of folks are chomping at the bit for that shad run along the Delaware, which I've got some good news. We're back to our full weekly complement of updates from J.B. Casper, our freshwater field editor here at the Fisherman magazine. This week, we're burning the midnight oil, putting together the April edition. That's going to print on Sunday. And the good thing is, when that goes to print on Sunday, your April edition comes out next week, I've got the full complement of field editors back. JB doing freshwater and North Jersey, Ashley Viola, Central Jersey, Anthony Califano, South Jersey, Eric Burnley doing our Delaware and Maryland updates, and of course Nick Konicheski is back doing your beach talk. You get it every single week. It's like 10,000 to 15,000 words worth of reports. And that's going to be in your April edition, and then every week after that, especially when Tom Pagg's offshore report returns sometime in May. So it's easily 15 to 17,000 words worth of reports. If you want to get the full complement of everything, you need to be a member. You got to subscribe. You get it all. You get the monthly access. You get the access to everything behind the firewall at thefisherman.com. And when we go to print on Sunday, it's back to weekly access at thefisherman.com as well. You only have a few more days to get that special spring subscription sale update, $5 off. It's only $24.95 for the year. Our weekly video forecast, it's only part of the full complement you get when you're a member of the Fisherman magazine. By the way, we've been talking a lot this winter about management updates and meetings. They continue. We have a striped bass hearing online Thursday, March 25th from 6 to 8 p.m. This one is a New Jersey-focused striped bass hearing. You can get all the details on our homepage at thefisherman.com. Just look for the story. It's entitled Upcoming New York and New Jersey Striped Bass Hearings. I'm going to sit in on this lovely meeting all night long on Thursday, so I'll have a full update for you when we return next week in our video forecast. We are up over 30,350 subscribers at this point. That's awesome. If you're not a subscriber to this YouTube channel and you want to get these updates delivered to you on a regular basis, go down and hit the subscribe button, because then you'll be notified when we go live with this report. You'll also be notified when we go live with some of our great how-to videos. In fact, I was just checking that the Minn Kota trolling motor install video I did a couple of years ago is peaking. Folks are looking at getting some information on installing a Minn Kota trolling motor. I highly recommend it. In fact, in addition to that trolling motor on my boat, I'm in the process of getting a brand new Suzuki 140 down there at Chestnut Neck. Look for me out on Great Bay. The ugliest boat in the water with the best technology. The Minn Kota up front and the Suzuki in the back. Hope to be in the water in time for our May 22nd summer flounder opening, because that's a great time to be fishing down on Great Bay. One last look at Boopie's big striper on the Delaware. Folks, this is just the beginning, because the cows have definitely come home. We'll check in with you again next week right here at thefisherman.com.
Steigercraft boats, built by people who fish our waters. Serious anglers choose Steigercraft for their 40 years of boat building experience right here in the Northeast and Mid-Atlantic. Visit steigercraft.com for a dealer near you.